The son of a bitch knows how to talk. Dozens of people listen to Tony's sermon with tears in their eyes. After each pause, they wait. Old Nintendo gamer.
And son.
Hello and welcome to Bahnsen Nights. This is a demo actually on the eShop for a game that's out now. It just dropped last week. It is £8.49 on the UK eShop, published by Chorus Worldwide Games, and as you can see in the top left there, it's made by Pixel Pulps, and it is like a little pulp fiction type thing going on here, but an undercover detective who's lost his partner and has to infiltrate the Bahnsen Knights cult, basically. Religious cult. Let's have a look at the settings while we're at it. Message speed or delay, massive volumes of it, right? There's all there. And it's got some interesting game mechanics by the looks of it. It intrigued me by its, obviously, Commodore 64 Spectrum visual style. Episode 1, press A to continue. We shall. There's something heavy in the air. Some kind of tension. It's not just silence that follows his pauses. It's expectation. Cult leader, the son of a bitch, knows how to talk. Dozens of people listen to Tony's sermon with tears in their eyes. After each pause, they wait. Suspense making their pulses race. And Tony knows it. You notice the way he waits before starting certain lines? How he builds up the crowd's energy and makes the most of every silence. Although you've heard his speeches before, you can't help but notice that there's a certain magnetism in his words. You remember that before the storms, Tony had been a used car salesman. Did you know that the idea that hell is below us was etched in the Western subconscious by a 14th century poem? Tony claims that more than 500 years ago the devil sat behind Dante Alighieri and dictated the verses of the Divine Comedy to him. You look around. You can feel the contained energy and you know it won't be much longer. Where do you think the tornadoes that plague our county come from? Don't be fooled. You close your eyes and feel the hairs on your arms stand on end. Hell isn't below us, brothers and sisters. No! Not beneath our feet. You crazy son of a bitch. Hell is above us all. People recognize the end of the sermon and you feel like something finally breaks. A huge amount of energy gets released. And the clamor is deafening. You wonder if this same crowd can be heard over the passing of an F5 tornado. Trying not to draw too much attention, you walk away from the scene by strolling to the other side of the barn. You light a cigarette and take a few drags. You can still hear them cheering. You grab your head. What were you thinking? You didn't infiltrate the Bahnsen Knights to analyze their leader's sermons. You need to know what happened to Cupra. You think of your partner, of the work at the agency, all the beers you shared. Cooper is the godfather of your 3-year-old daughter. The day she was born, he promised that whatever happened to you, he would be there for her. You feel an emptiness in your stomach and try to think of something else. I still can't understand why you smoke that brand, Boulder. Tony, you're startled back into the present. You didn't hear him coming. I needed some air. Here. I'm gonna grab the keys right. Oh, so I pushed down on the D-pad there to grab the key. Tony shakes the keychain close to your face. You don't really seem to have a choice and grab the keys. Is there something wrong with my Sierra? No, it's not that. Today's sermon was intense. I need you to drive me in my Sierra. What about mine? Should I leave it here? Yeah, don't worry. Tomorrow a new driver joins the group. And we're going to use the barn for the baptism. A new baptism. This soon. You stare at Tony looking for a sign. Nothing. It's not the first time Tony's had someone drive him in his car. Or it's the first time he asked you. Let's hurry before everyone heads out. You walk to Tony's Ford Sierra and get in the driver's seat. I'll sit in the back. He's gonna stab you in the back, pal. Need to stretch my legs a bit. You turn the keys and hear the engine roar. Step on it, Boulder. They have a new driver. Well, they don't need you anymore, Boulder. Don't be shy. Why did he ask you to drive him? Why not ask one of the others? Could it be because he found you near where the cars were parked and just wanted to hurry? And what was that about a new baptism? Based on what you've heard, neither candidate's ready yet. Even though you try to focus on the route, you can't help but think that something is wrong. A doubt forms like a cloud in your mind. It would in mine. What does Tony know? Tony. We don't have to chat, Boulder. What does he mean? Your hands sweating the steering wheel. You try to calm down and think. Tony's voice came from behind the passenger seat. Tony doesn't want to talk and you can't stand the silence. Music might help you think more clearly. You can turn on the radio. Static. Someone's talking about politics, not what you're looking for. You don't want to hear the sports results either, and you keep looking. You can't turn the dial to the right anymore. Politics. More static. You feel some movement at the back. Leave it there. Listen. You recognize the song and a chill runs down your spine. 666. It's an old blues song about betrayal. Oh dear. You focus on the song's lyrics and everything falls into place. Tony knows. He knows you infiltrated the Bahnsen Knights. He knows you're investigating what happened to Cooper. Son of a bitch just knows. So what would he do now? Would he wait until he got me out of the car and shoot you in the back of the head? You grip the wheel tight with both hands. Tony would never kill anyone inside of one of his Sierras. You think of your daughter, of Cooper, or of the promise he made to you that no one would ever fulfill. Boulder to the truck! Everything happened too fast. And although Tony wasn't killed instantly, neither of you survived the frontal collision with the truck. Bloody hell. The hell? You turn on the radio. Static. You feel some movement at the back. Leave it there, listen. You recognize the song and a chill runs down your spine. It's an old blues song about betrayal. You focus on the song's lyrics, blah blah blah, Tony knows, blah blah blah. Oh, wait, Is it gonna just kill me again? Throw a boulder the truck, blah blah blah, retry, sorry. I accidentally didn't press the right button there, so I turn the radio, static, so we have to turn the dial to the left, you feel some movement on the back, leave it there, listen, recognize the spine. It's an old blues song about betrayal. Stay on this. I've done it again. Guys, can I just go fast? Boulder the truck, bang, 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 bang. So, you've got to choose the right static, turn the dial to the left, I gotta push the, recognize the song, it's an old blues song, change the station. Boulder, what are you doing? Sorry, but you know the rules of Bahnsen Nights better than anyone. The driver chooses the music. Tony laughs, and something about it calms you down. Static. One of your favorite songs comes on and you let go of the dial. Chill. You don't know if it's because of how Tony laughed when you mentioned one of the Bahnsen Nights rules, or because you're listening to the first song you danced to with Eva. Whatever the reason, you start to calm down. Before you know it, you sing the song under your breath. Come on, Boulder! Louder! Pumped up by Tony's words, you start singing out loud. When you finish, Tony starts clapping. Listen. Tomorrow's an important day for us, all of us. I moved the baptism of the new driver forward because there's someone who's not going to be sticking around. The others were going to take care of him before going to the bar. Who was Tony talking about? And what had this nameless driver done? Would they do to him the same as they did to Cooper? Again, this feeling of emptiness in your stomach. But let's stay focused on the positive. Tomorrow, you'll have your first route of exorcism. Your first route exorcism? Root exorcism? What's that? Happy, Boulder? You try to smile, to hide the shaking in your left hand. The rest of the trip you do in silence. You know that you'll have to be more careful than ever if you don't want to be discovered. Danny. Oh, Danny boy. You park near the entrance of the bar and get out and open Tony's door. Tony slaps you on the shoulder and smiles. You enter the bar. Tony nods towards the counter and winks at you. He then vanishes through the door in the back. In Danny's, the beer is free for the Bahnsen Nights. Old Danny had been one of the group's first drivers. After his tragic death, his son Kevin had taken over the bar. Kevin despised Tony and his followers, but even with their differences, he upheld the agreements with the Bahnsen Nights. Does Tony know that Kevin spit in every glass of beer before putting it on the counter? You hear someone swearing to your left and see a group of men walking away from the Glenlivet dartboard. The dartboard was Kevin's idea. Each customer is allowed to throw one dart a night, but not the Bahnsen Nights. Tony had taken care of that. The Bahnsen Nights can throw as many darts as they want, and try to make it Glenn's eye. You know, he's not gonna spit in your glass. Kevin was Cooper's friend. And something tells you that Kevin knows you're nothing like the rest of the Bahnsen Nights. You finish your beer and stretch your back. You look over at the door in the back. There's something Tony said you can't get out of your head. Starting tomorrow, they'll let you join in the Holy Cross. You and your Ford Sierra will participate in the root exorcisms at last. Driving exorcisms. Intriguing little game so far. Let's continue if it carries on. Episode 2. Press A to continue. And before I read, I always do this with, especially after lunch, which is just had lunch, sip some coffee. Fine coffee. You place your hand on your chest and suppress the burp before it reaches your mouth. You adjust your seat and muster the strength to embark on another day. It's been over a month since your first exorcism. You don't know how much more you can take. You still haven't discovered what happened to Cupra. Nor have you found the evidence necessary to incriminate Tony. You lower the sun visor on the passenger side. Anguish constricts your chest. Neither heartburn nor the burning sensation in your esophagus troubles you anymore. You experience a shapeless pain. A pain that doesn't cling to the body, but rather to the absence of anything. Ollie. You focus on the drawing, on those marks that still feel close to you, yet are part of a different life. You recall Eva's laughter upon seeing how Olivia depicted you. Eva pointed to your belly and your feigned offense. You would scold her for mocking your child's autistic ability. Eva would ask you to put Olivia to sleep, giving you a playful wink, and you would lull her to sleep watching her fight the pull of slumber. Aware that Eva awaited you in the other room, you gaze at the holy cards. Sometimes you wonder if the agency complicates matters unnecessarily. Each saint represents a specific area of investigation, and the holy cards serve as a means to communicate with your handler discreetly. You shut your eyes and you believe you catch a glimpse of them. You start the car, knowing that the road numbs your consciousness. Cooper once told you that he had used to fall asleep listening to a tape of white noise on his Walkman. It helped because white noise encompasses all the frequencies audible to humans. The perfect place for those voices that kept him awake to get lost in the crowd. Have you read Poe? Cooper held Edgar Allan Poe in high regard, and it felt like a personal affront every time you told him that you didn't read him yet. He glanced at the passenger seat. Would it be enough this time? The idea of using holy cards in the investigation couldn't be more apt. After all, you perceive every communication with your handler as a prayer. You walk with great strides. You remember Eva, how she mimicked the rhythm of your walk and laughed while doing so. There they are. Eva, 1954 to 1981. Olivia, 1978 to 1981. It was your handler's idea. When you heard it, it seemed like a bad joke. You couldn't believe what she was proposing. Erecting the fake graves of your wife and daughter in a local cemetery. Your handler said it was perfect as cover. Your wife and daughter would have been killed in a road accident, which would explain your disregard for life and self-destructive impulses behind the wheel. Two desirable traits among the Bahnsen Knights. However, the true brilliance of the idea lay elsewhere, and that was to name them after your real wife and daughter. As an undercover agent, you would have no contact with them, and you could harness those genuine feelings of loss to make your cover more convincing. You gaze at your daughter's grave, 1978 to 1981. Even though you know no one is buried there, the date evokes a profound sadness as you avert your eyes. You're aware your handler chose your daughter's grave for the exchange because that reaction is common to most people. It's difficult to confront the death of a child. Father Mario is a healing priest from La Matanza, Argentina. There's a famous phrase of his, "I am the guitar, God is the guitar player." The agency uses Father Mario's holy card to catalog the actions of Tony's acquaintances, and thus build a case against the entire hierarchy of the Bahnsen Knights. Saint Katigan of Tien, patron saint of the administrative officers. The agency uses his holy card to catalog accounting documentation. So Mario is people, Cayatan is documents and fraud, that kind of thing. Mary, undoer of knots, is an allegorical representation of human difficulties. The knot symbolizes those problems that the Virgin helps to unravel. The agency uses her holy card to catalog documentation that seems to have been forged or obtained illegally. Illegal vice, right, okay. So we go back for a minute. The receipt is for 20 cans of red paint. You know that Tony paints huge crosses on his barns. And although the receipt is not evidence in itself to convict him, it would prove valuable to forensic accountants. After the storm season, and some security issues that followed the humanitarian crises, the government issued a curfew prohibiting movement except for those with a special permit. How had Tony managed to get a permit issued in his name? You assign the evidence to the holy card. I don't know if this is right. What was the other one? The receipt. You assign the evidence to the holy card. You leave the holy cards on the grave, and you retreat the way you came. Would the evidence stack up this time? Could you build a case with this new information? How much longer will you endure the Bahnsen Knights? However desperate you are to find out what happened to Cupra, you long to go home. You want to embrace them. Kiss them. You miss them so much. You yearn for Olivia to draw you. For Eva to laugh at you. To put Olivia to sleep. Knowing that Eva is waiting for you in the other room. A Sierra gets in front of you, and you manage to brake at the last second. Fuck you! Vincent smiles, and you barely stop yourself from stepping out of the car to punch the grin off his face. You think of Cupra, and one of the exercises he taught you to survive as an undercover agent. It's a mnemonic trick. You have to imagine a sort of continuum for each person you interact with. Some sort of bar divided into 7 equal parts. Heh, follow me, Boulder! You look at Vincent, and you can imagine that bar. The beginning of the bar represents full confidence. The end, total suspicion. That point where they're going to accuse you and discover your true identity. You apply Cooper's trick to all the Bahnsen Knights. Apart from Tony. With Tony you never know where you stand, bar or no bar. You hear Vincent rev the car's engine. He wants to see us. You grit your teeth hard. And you take comfort in thinking that if the evidence is good enough this time, it won't be long before you'll be back with your family. Alright, so we gotta go and snoop in. You've reached the end of the demo. Thanks for playing! Hey! Absolutely intriguing. There is, from what I can see from screenshots and all that, there's some driving mini-games, there's some other mini-games as well, so if you're not intrigued by the story there of being an undercover agent, battling with anxiety of being caught out as an undercover agent, this is the kind of 1980s, early 1990s pixelated game and visual novel that might be up your street. It is up mine. Pixel Pulps, thank you very much. And thank you very much Chorus Worldwide Games for publishing this and providing a demo available on the eShop right now. Yes, the game is also available for £8.49. Thanks for watching this. Bye-bye. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe and give us a like if you've enjoyed our content. You can follow us on X, Facebook, Instagram, and Threads. We also have a private Discord server for some laid-back gaming chat, and if you're feeling generous, you can support us via Ko-fi. All the relevant links are in the description below.